Huh. Alright, so I do need a little bit of, that's good. Start again. Hi, I'm Vivian from The Guilty Knitter, and it is February 3rd, 2019, and this is only my second podcast of the year, so I'm not quite doing my every 2 weeks as planned, but here I am. And I have a couple of good whips to show you and a couple of finished objects, one of which I am wearing. Finally finished my Birkin, and I'll talk to you about that a little bit later. I just got back from a trip to Ottawa where we were visiting our son. My husband and I drove down Friday to visit him because it's his birthday today, or not today, sorry, on Wednesday, but it's his birthday week. And he's turning the big 3-0, which is kind of crazy. He's my baby, so I feel like I'm pretty old to have a baby who's 30. While we were there, we visited my niece, actually my husband's niece, Nicole, and her husband and their 3 children. They have 3 boys, the youngest of which I recently knit a little sweater for. Anyway, it was a nice visit. It was really good to see everyone. Yeah, it was really quick, so because we had to get back today. My husband is conducting a youth orchestra every Sunday afternoon in the West Island of Montreal. So he had to get back for that, and I wanted to get back to do this podcast and to practice stuff for my week because I'm going back to work on Monday. This is my little guy, Monty. Isn't he sweet? Oh, little Monty. Yeah. Last week I cut his hair a little bit. He looks slightly less unkempt than he used to, than he often does. Being a white dog in the winter is not easy. So I have some, like I said, I have a couple of whips. I have a couple of finished objects. But before I start that, I just want to tell you where to find me. My Instagram handle is at Guilty Knitter. I always get that wrong. It's not The Guilty Knitter, it's at Guilty Knitter. And on Ravelry, it's The Guilty Knitter. So if you want to follow me there, I do have a page for this podcast. There's not a lot going on there, but I'd love it if you wanted to introduce yourself. Love to read that and find out who's watching and what you think. And so that's where I'm on. Those are the 2 places I'm the most active, I would say. I do tweet a little bit. You can find me as OSMVIV on Twitter. And so yeah, I'm enjoying a February challenge on Instagram. I'm trying to keep up. I've done the first 2 prompts. It's kind of fun. I introduced myself and talked about what I do when I'm not knitting. So those are the first 2 prompts. And today you're supposed to come up with your first project ever. And I'm like, I'm going to have to go back and check my Ravelry page, kind of remind me. But I'm not even going to think about my real first project, which was in my 20s, I guess, or my teens, and I have no idea what it was. But I did take like 25 years off knitting, something like that, and only really started up again 5 years ago. So I'm going to use the more recent knitting era as my first project, and so I'll figure it out. I did blog a couple of times recently on my Tranquil Garden, so if you want to look me up there, Vivian's Tranquil Garden. I'm planning to be pretty regular with my writing posts. So I'm not going to promise every week, but I'm hoping to do a weekly blog post. And it's not going to be always entirely about knitting because sometimes I just want to write about other stuff. So it's basically a very eclectic vlog. But the last project, the last post I did write was about my Birkin that I'm going to talk to you about today. So if you want to know a bit more detail, I think I probably got into more detail on the post than I will today. But anyway, I do enjoy the blogging probably more than I enjoy vlogging, because I'm much more comfortable with the written word. But I do find that this has really helped me, believe it or not, become more easy with talking at length. It may sound like all I do is pause and say but it was a lot worse when I first started. And so I'm really actually happy to keep doing this, because I think it is good for me to be able to practice putting one word after the other without stumbling entirely the whole time. And okay, so now I've told you where to find me, and I want to, before I start talking about the knitting, I wanted to mention, because I think it's important for all of us in the knitting community who have a platform that we are regularly using, whether it's Instagram or this, YouTube videos, to mention what, the conversation that's been going on about inclusivity and racism on Instagram. It seems to be, I don't know, it's been going on for at least a month, I would say. I didn't even read the initial post. I'm not exactly clear on where it all started, but that doesn't really matter, because the fact that people are feeling not included and not welcome in this community is enough to make anyone who feels strongly about it talk about it. And although it's taken me a while to get into the conversation, I don't consider myself some kind of influencer, so maybe that's why it's taken me longer. I just figured, well, does anyone really care what I think? But at the same time, I just want to make it clear that if anyone wants to come and hang out with me on the Guilty Knitter, you are totally welcome. Everybody is welcome. And I just, I'm seeing that my battery flashes right now, so I have to go and charge up my battery on my phone, my camera. But I'm hoping that I can get this in before it totally dies. So I just want you all to know that I feel strongly about equal rights for everybody and equal treatment. And if I have been remiss, I hope not, but if I have, I certainly want to do better, and I plan to. So anyone who thinks that it's not a problem is naive, I'm sure, because the knitting community is just a little bubble. We like to think it's like wonderful and perfect, but it's still a small part of the bigger community, and the same problems obviously apply. So we need to do better. That's it. And I definitely want to do better. So I have to recharge my battery, and when I'm done, I'll be back to finish this podcast. Just fixing this just a bit. Got my glasses on now, so I can see. I hope the lighting isn't too bad. It's gotten a little darker since I had to stop and recharge my battery. Anyway, I think I said all I needed to say about inclusivity, etc. So anyway, I will move on from there and and talk to you about knitting, since this is a knitting vlog or video podcast. So I want to tell you about my beautiful Birkin. I'm extremely happy with how it finally turned out. I did do the 3/4 sleeves. In fact, they're kind of on the short side, you might even say, for 3/4 sleeves, but they're fine. I like them actually like that. Everything worked out well. This fit here is good. I guess all the modifications I did ended up working, so yeah, I couldn't be happier really. I know I was drawn to this pattern mainly because of this gorgeous yoke, and I have a tendency to never knit something in the colors that the designer did the original. Even when I really like it, which I did in this case, I really liked Caitlin Hunter's version, which was like a light, sort of a beige or off-white main color, and just green here, and I can't remember what else in here, but it was really nice. But I always want to choose my own colors. That's just the way I roll. So yeah, I went with the dark color scheme, and I quite like it. I think I mentioned to you that I got tired of carrying three strands at one point, so I ended up doing, for this middle part, I did not carry 3 strands, and I just did it all in pink and blue right along here, but then I added the white as in a duplicate stitch, and it looks fine, you know. And I think it was a little bit easier. I mean, it's a little bit fussy, but it was easier than fussing with 3 strands of yarn, which is a real pain in my opinion. Maybe I'll take these off because they're annoying. So what else can I say about this? The shaping in the original pattern, I'm going to stand up here so I can show you a little bit. Basically, it looks pretty straight, but I did come in a little bit and then out again. The original pattern calls for shaping just by, like, she asks for a sort of an A-line shape. So right from the underarms out, practically, I think, you start going up needle sizes to make the shaping. Well, I didn't want to do that because I didn't want an A-line shape really, and B, with my gauge already being off, I knew I didn't want to go up needle sizes because I was already at a loose gauge, so it would have looked weird. So instead I came up in a little bit. I decreased just below the bust, and then I got tired of knitting the body, and I decided to knit one of the sleeves. So that was, I try to do that a lot in my projects, kind of change it up if I can, so that I don't get totally bored. And so yeah, so I did one of the sleeves, and I ended up doing the sleeve ribbing in 1x1 rib instead of 2x2 ribs. So I did that for the whole sweater. Whatever, it doesn't make a difference, but but then when I went back, I did the sleeve or the ribbing on a 2.75 needle, and when I went back to knitting the body, I forgot to switch back to 3.25 millimeters. So I did about 2 inches with the smaller needle before I kind of realized that it was looking a little different. But I thought, well, it's actually kind of a perfectly placed to make kind of a waist shaping of sorts, not a very big one. And so I just did the 2 inches, and then I switched to 3.25, back to 3.25. So it all worked out perfectly well. Yeah, so I'm happy. I hope you like it. I love it. As I've probably told you many times, it was mostly knitted. This main part is loft. This gray part is also loft, I believe. Yeah. And and the pink is tuku wool. This light pink is tuku wool, and the dark pink is, I think, Julia Slantino. I could be wrong. And this green is a sweet paprika. It's a lovely green. All right, and that's it for the Birkin. Thank God. I mean, it's been on my needles since September. Yeah, September 16th till January 19th or something. I mean, the fact is I didn't knit it only that, because I don't do that. I always have 3 or 4 or 5 things on my needles, so that's how I roll with that, because otherwise I get bored. I need to change it up. But it's also good for my hands, because when I knit the same gauge or needle size for a long time, it can hurt my hands, so I have to be pretty careful. Some people don't seem to have any issues, but I really have to stretch all the time, because sometimes I get twinges, and because I'm also a trombonist, I have issues like that with my shoulders and my neck, and you know, stuff like that. So I like to change it up. It's just fun and better for me, I think. I'm gonna my next finished object is a quick pair of mittens that I did for my husband this week. He always loses his mittens, so I know he's gonna lose these, but after he lost his last pair, which I knitted him last winter, and he did use them for quite a while, but I think in the beginning of this winter, or before Christmas, he lost them. So, and he was wearing these silly little acrylic gloves that I had lying around. I mean, they were just useless, worse than useless, as my mother used to say. And so he said, "Oh, don't make me another pair. You know, I'm gonna lose them." But then he didn't buy himself another pair, so I thought, oh, I'll just go ahead and make them. And I had the yarn. I had this yarn. It's Eco Wool Cascade Eco, I believe. I didn't have the tag, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. In this Pacific colorway. I've made a ton of things in this colorway, in this yarn, accessories, mittens for my son and mittens for Dave. Anyway, so I still have quite a bit left. Crazy. I was just curious. I had 2 balls. One was quite large, and I'm pretty sure that must be the Eco, because it's a huge, you get a lot of yarn in one skein of Eco Wool, Cascade Eco. So, but the other one is a smaller one, but they look so similar. One of them might be Cascade 128, or maybe I had 2 balls of Eco, I don't know. But they're very, very similar colors. The colorway is the same. It's called Pacific, and they're the same company, so it's just a different weight, but it looks pretty close. All right, so there's that, and I'll insert a picture somewhere in this segment, so you have a look at that. They're the wood stack mitts by Jane Richmond. And I was trying to remember what else I knitted by Jane Richmond, and it turned out to be the Clark pullover, which I did last year, I guess. It's like a spring green, and with a pinky variegated colorway as the stripe. It's kind of fun. I like that sweater. That was a good pattern. Very basic pullover, but it's a great pattern. I recommend it highly. It's called the Clark pullover. Yeah, and the Jane, these haystack, why do I keep calling that? Wood stack mitts are from the book that I won last year, something like that. Called Within, and they're all patterns by Jane Richmond and Shannon Cook. And I'm looking forward to doing another one of the patterns from that book. I'm going to show you. Pretty sure I may have already showed you. Oh, I don't have it in here. Here it is. There it is. I'm sure I already showed it to you, but whatever. I'm going to show it to you again. I just have to live with that. There's a lot of nice patterns in here, but this is the one I'm thinking of right here to do as my next sweater project. Can you see that okay? So it has that nice detailing on the arms and in the back, and the collar that kind of sticks up, and I quite like it. Let's see. I want to show you a picture of the back if I can. Where is it? There it is. Yeah, so it has this nice detail, which is just rib, but it's actually knit through the back lip, so back stitch. So it's twisted rib. Not my favorite, but you know, I guess I'll get over that. There's a lot of ribbing in this thing, so that could drive me a little crazy, but at least the yarn is nice and big, so that's kind of fun. I haven't decided what color and what yarn to buy, but I might do the shelter, the Brooklyn tweed shelter, which is a similar kind of wool to this, only thicker. It's like a worsted weight. And of course, when I went on the Spas Tricot site to look at, just to browse and look at the colorways that they have of the shelter, I got to this gorgeous color and I went, oh yeah, that's the one I want. And I clicked on it and well, lo and behold, it was the same colorway as this. And I was like, okay, maybe not. Maybe I won't pick the exact same colorway twice in a row. So I'm gonna pick something else, but I'm not sure what. I'm kind of going out of order here because I'm talking about future projects and I haven't even talked about my whips yet, but I did want to talk to you. Oh yeah, I was thinking of making the something called the Stoneham pullover or Stoneham poncho by Diana Walla. It's a lovely thing that it's part of the Chalet collection that Spas Tricot and Diana Walla are putting out together, and it's really nice. The only thing is that I'm not sure I would get a lot of use out of it, as much as I don't know, I'm not sure. But then I thought, well, I can always make it for someone else. If I just really want to knit something, I should just knit it, right? Because why not? Let's see if I can find it here on my, yeah, here it is. There it is. Here's a nice picture of Diana with it on. Can you see that? There she is. And yeah, I just think the color work is lovely. So I might, and I have some picked colors I was thinking of using. Although I need a lot more yarn than this, so, but this, I could start with something like this and, you know, kind of think about it. I don't know. So that's an idea. Now Diana Walla is a designer I've talked about a lot, and I seem to like a lot of her patterns. I mean, I don't necessarily want to knit everything that she did design, but I have knitted already something like 3 of her designs, so that's pretty good. I did the her son-daughter sweater, which is like one of my favorite things I've ever knit, and I did the hat, the hoopla hat, and I did her hearth slippers, and they're just all really fun. I really like all the patterns. I don't think I did talk about it. Probably not, because I did it this month. So I'm going to show you a picture of it, because David has taken it over, my husband. So, you know, I don't know when I'll get it back, but that's it. And I did that in my, no, it's not. Oh, I can't remember the name of it. It's something I got. I'll write it underneath here on the screen when I figure it out. The gray is the Scout. It's a lovely yarn, which I'll also put the full name under here. Yeah, so that was another thing. So I had 3 finished objects for you. Wow, I had a lot of fun knitting that. It has a Latvian braid, which I almost completed it, and I realized I'd totally done it wrong, where I read the directions completely wrong, and I had to undo it and do it again. I thought, this is not turning out the way it should. So I had to redo it, but it's all worth it. First time I ever did one. So, in fact, these are the exact yarns that I used. I just can't remember the name of this one. But this is Scout. Anyway, those are lovely yarns. So I have, oh yeah, so my whips. Okay, so I was interrupted, but here I am back again. I turned on a light. I hope the lighting is a little better. Let me just get comfortable here. Okay. Yeah, so my current work in progress is a design that I'm doing, kind of my own design, based on a vest that I did, or a tank top really, that I did in a summery cotton blend, kind of like a very shiny blue. You probably remember it. Anyway, I'm doing a vest. I thought I'd do a winter version of it. So it's in black, and I'm knitting it in Drops Lima, which is a merino and alpaca blend. I bought it online, actually. I forget the name of the website. It was a UK website. And I'm stranding it with this 100% silk, so I've got these two, I don't know if you can see, but there we go. 100% silk, I think it's Haibu or something. Anyway, I will put the name of them under here as well, because I should have them down there. I should know in advance, but I didn't do my research. So so far this is going okay. I'm a little concerned that it might be too tight. I'm doing a split hem. You see, it's this bottom up construction, and 2x2 rib. I think it's coming out. I love the feeling of these two yarns together. Somehow that silk makes a bit of a difference. I'm kind of happy with that. The only thing is that I'm checking my gauge at the stockinette area here, and it's a little tighter than my gauge swatch. No big surprise there, because I did it back and forth, and now I'm knitting in the round. So I don't know. I don't really trust my swatching. It never ends up being, even if I try to do one in the round, it doesn't quite end up being the way it ends up being when I'm knitting the real thing. So I got a rough idea of the gauge, and I started knitting. I have a feeling I'm going to have to pull back to the top of the ribbing. I might do that like right away. Just go back to the top of the ribbing. I think the ribbing's okay. I hope. Might be a little on the tight side, but I think if I switch to a larger needle for this, then I will be okay. I'm currently knitting with a 4mm, and I'll just go up to 4.5. And then I think we'll be good. So then I'm just gonna go straight up, kind of, maybe do a tiny bit of shaping in the waist, go up here, just do a basic crew neck. I just really want to get the experience of figuring out the dimensions I want, the shaping I want, and I'm not worrying about sleeves because it's just a vest. But I might do a little decoration here, some eyelets or something, just super simple. And that's it. And I had an idea for instead of doing ribbing around here, I might do like a moss stitch, but I'm not quite sure if I'll do that or not. We'll see. I might try it. I can always yank it out, right? I can always frog it. So this is really, really lovely. I'm excited about this. So that's that, and I guess that's all I have on my needles, aside from a couple of, oh yeah, I have my shawl / scarf that I'm making that's also kind of my own design. I need to get back to that because it is kind of fun. And I have another thing in my queue, which is I'm going to do the songbird mittens, and I'm using this brown and this pink. I believe these, okay, what is this? Yeah, they're both tuku wool. This is a brown colorway of some kind. Argo. I can't really see because I took my glasses off. Hold on a minute. Anga 5, it says. That's the colorway, I guess. And the other one is, don't remember what that colorway is called, but I do want to tell you the name of the name of the designer of these mittens that I'm going to make. They are, oh, such gorgeous mittens. I saw that Naomi Endicott, who is Knits the Sundown on Instagram, had knitted a pair. I saw her knitting them and I loved them. So I thought, well, I'm going to knit a pair too. So I bought the pattern. And Erica Husser, if that's how you say her name, I'm not quite sure. But she was the designer and I quite like her a lot. Hey, I'm just interrupting this program to bring you an update because it's taking me so long to get this podcast out that I thought I'll put a few more things in that I didn't get finished for the last time I recorded. And there's still some daylight, amazingly, at 4:30 in the afternoon. That makes a big difference to one's life, doesn't it? That little bit more daylight every day, just so great. Anyway, so what I wanted to talk to you about is, first of all, I have a finished object for you, which is my elemental hat. It's by Woolly Wormhead. There you go. And this is from a group of hats that she calls the Elemental Collection. And this is called the Azula Hat. It's not beautiful? Look at that. It's not blocked yet, so it looks a little bumpy, but I'm pretty sure that once it's blocked, that will come out a little bit. But isn't that wonderful, wonderful yarn? I'm just going to try it on for you. Okay, it looks a little goofy, maybe. No, it doesn't look goofy. Look. See? Yeah? Pretty nice, right? I'm very happy with it. It was a real challenge because I learned several new techniques. Actually, the short row method she recommends is the German short row method, which I have used a lot. So that was one thing that I was comfortable with. But knitting a hat flat like this, and you see the way the rows are like this rather than like this. That was different, but it's all in garter stitch, so that so it's nice. You don't have to worry about purling. But at the same time, I guess the trickiest part was following the chart, and the other tricky part was for me hiding the little holes whenever you change yarns, different color here, let's say. If you're not careful, you'll leave a hole there. So that was one thing I didn't know how to do, and I found out from watching her tutorials how to do that. And so once I had those two things down, I was ready to go, and so I was off to the races. And it was really, really fun to knit. I will definitely make more of these, this type of construction, because they're a lot of fun. Quite addictive, I have to say. And this is this pink is Lizu DK. Like, I used it for my girl's best friend shawl, and this is from my friend Linda, who had it in her stash and decided to divest herself of it. So she gave me 2 balls, and I love this yarn. The way it worked out perfectly for these flames. I guess they're supposed to be flames, blue flames. And this is it's from gosh, somebody Lena's Laces, or I'll write it down underneath the screen here, because I kind of forget what it is, but it's 100% merino, that much I know. Anyway, so that was fun. Now this is supposed to be a DK weight, and I used worsted. This is a worsted weight pretty much. So I used the smallest needle they recommended, which was 3.25, and I was supposed to do 7 or 8 repeats of the chart, and I only did 7, and that worked actually, I think, perfectly, because my gauge was a lot looser than the recommended gauge. Next time I make one, I will tried to have the right yarn. And that will probably work better. But surprisingly, you wouldn't think, I don't find that hats, knitted hats, are particularly warm. You know, when they're just one layer. I often have to fold up the brim. And even then sometimes, you know, the wind gets in. But I find that this hat is surprisingly warm. And I don't know if it's because of the short rows, the dense fabric, because of using a small needle on the heavier yarn, or what it is, but it's surprisingly warm, so that's fun. So that took me about a week to do, and of course that distracted me from my other projects. But I did talk to you all about my beautiful Birkin, so I won't go into that. And this will be a kind of a mishmash of bits and pieces because of taking too long over getting it published. But I'll just show you my progress on my little vest that I'm making, that I'm sort of designing myself. Here it is. Unfortunately, it's kind of falling off the needles. That's a nice black yarn there. I don't know, it doesn't seem to want to focus on there. There's some things on maybe there's some things on the lens. Anyways, so, but it's coming along. I'm really happy with it. I just find that going around and around in stocking stitch, it just, I get really bogged down. I lose interest, you know? I mean, it's okay. It's not even that I lose interest, because I can watch TV and knit that, but I find I have to be really careful with those, just doing rounds and rounds of the same thing, because it bothers my arm. So that's why I don't make fast progress on the big things. I can get through these little projects pretty fast, or if they're more interesting, like if there's some stranded work or whatever, then I can go much faster. Okay, and since I'm talking to you about acquisitions, did I say I was talking about acquisitions? Okay, right now I'm going to talk about stash enhancement. But it's not going to be stash enhancement long, because I'm going to use them up right away. Because I had this from La Bien-Aimée. I bought it in Paris. This is a single ply. I don't remember what she calls it, but I'll look it up. But it's got if you can't really see it too well, it's a very light lavender with some green tinges in it, and it's just, I've always loved this ever since I got it, and I wanted to use it for just the right thing. So I'm using it for a Zweig sweater by Caitlin Hunter. And this is going to be the main color, which is a purple, like a black, almost a black purple. Now, it's not looking black, or it's not looking purple in this, really. Looking more blue, but it's definitely purple. And it's going to look super good with this. And that's a Madeline Tosh, what is it called? Yeah, Tosh Merino Light. And I've never worked with Madeline Tosh before, so I'm excited, I have to say. Can't wait to start. So there's that. And I finally bought some yarn for my upcoming timber sweater, which is going to be a cardigan. And I keep, you know, until I actually start knitting this, I imagine I'm going to still be thinking maybe I should be knitting something else. But I just keep coming back to it. So I think it's time to just get going and put it on the needles. So it's the Timber Cardigan by Jane Richmond. And I did a swatch, which I kind of fooled around a little bit. I did, you know, the plain stockinette here, and started practicing my twisted rib. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll do something different than just twisted rib. Maybe I'll replace it with some cables or something else. Finally, I don't think I will. I think I'll just knit it as written. And this is Brooklyn Tweed Shelter in one of their purple colorways. I'm really not good about this. Oh, going back to this, just in case you're curious, this is called 11 Dark This is the 11 dark colorway. Isn't that funny? I guess she ran out of ideas for colors. I don't know. But it's like a purple black. Oh, it's gorgeous. I guess purple, you know. What I'm just kind of going with it. Purple, pink, blue. These are my colors right now. For a while there, I was going through a big teal phase. Now it seems to be, I seem to be more, definitely, not just seems to be, I am totally into purples and blues and pinks. So there you go. I guess that's it really. Yeah, I guess that's it. I'm going to splice this in to the regular, what I've already done, or maybe replace a couple of things that I've already done. And yeah, get this thing out there so you guys can see what I've been up to. Anyway, I hope you're having a great time knitting away at your projects. And let's get back to the rest of the podcast. Bye. I can't believe I don't have anything else on the go right now. I feel like there's something I'm missing. But I haven't cast on a new shawl yet. And I usually have a shawl, a sweater, and a smaller item. I think that's kind of how I want to proceed in the future, is to have those 3 different things on my needles that basically all the time. Because they're all the kinds of knitting that I really like. Oh, and there's also, I do have a sock. That's right, I have a sock going. I always forget about that. I better get going on that too, because it's for Dave and he might want it at some point. Oh well, no rush. Yeah, so sock knitting, I'm just less interested in sock knitting right now. I don't know. You know, when they start wearing holes in them, and you think of all the work you put into it, I don't know. Who is it I was reading? I think it was Susan B. Anderson, or maybe it was the yarn harlot, Stephanie Pearl McPhee, and I was reading, excuse me, something they said about knitting socks, and that they always wear out, so there's always a new sock to be, people always need socks. And I guess I can see that, but at the same time I find it kind of like, oh God, really? It just seems like you're just throwing all that knitting away, kind of. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't mean I'll never make socks again, but I definitely will make socks because I like them, but I like them especially to wear. I really like wearing my own socks. So yeah, so that's it. I think I'm kind of done. So this will be the February edition. Maybe I'll get another one in February, before the end of February. You never know, but I'm really gonna try to keep my blog up to date at least. The videos, I'm not so sure how often I'll do them, but it is fun to share my beautiful knitting with you. I hope you think it's beautiful too. I do like to show off the beautiful projects that people are making and that have designed, and I'm trying to make, and all the struggles that go into it. It is really encouraging when you do some modifications like I did for this sweater, and I sweated over those modifications, and I changed my mind, and I added and I subtracted and I changed knitting needles, and I felt like I was constantly second guessing myself on every decision. I'm just amazed that it turned out as well as it did, frankly. It's like crazy. So, but it's very encouraging when that does happen. And when things fit with the way they're supposed to, you're just, it's really a great feeling, isn't it? Okay, so that's it. Oh, I wanted to send out a note, or at least a greeting to my friend Dorothy, who may hopefully be watching this at some point, who fell on the ice last week and broke 2 bones in her wrist. So she's not going to be knitting for at least 6 weeks, poor thing, I guess. Unless she can figure out a way to do it. I don't know. But I felt really sorry for her. And then the next day or the day after, I fell on the ice, and I was shoveling the back driveway, and I fell and I hit my lip actually right on on the shovel, because I had this big shovel, you know, one of those big wide ones, and I hit my, anyway. Luckily it was at the side and it's not too bad. I didn't know if it was going to be bad or not. It was bleeding, but it's actually going to be okay. It's just yeah, not very pleasant. I was very unhappy, and I didn't get the shoveling done. But we're in the middle of the worst part of winter. It's like as they say, the bleak midwinter. And it sure feels like you just want to hibernate. You just want to stay inside and knit. But like right now, I really should get out and get a walk, because I have not got any steps today. Like, oh well, I've got like 3,000 steps, which I guess isn't the worst, but I just need some exercise, and it's so hard to get it when you just don't want to go anywhere. Am I right? You want to see the back? I'll show you the back. 1 second. There's the beautiful backyard full of snow. And I guess snow's, oh, I don't think you're going to be able to see that, but there is a cardinal sitting in the lilac. I don't know if you can see. There she is. Can you just see her? Maybe she'll move and you'll see her better. Anyway, there's the beautiful yard. And I guess it is beautiful, but it just gets a little, there she is. Can you see she's moving? She's shy to get to the bird feeder, I guess. Thinks that it might be dangerous or something. Oh, there she goes. There she is. She's really blending into the lilac, so it's a bit hard to see. Now she's at the other side of it. Oh, there she is. Hold on. So hard to see her. Anyway, well, I guess I'll sign off now. If you're a new viewer, I welcome you to my channel, and if you're a returning viewer, thank you for coming by again, and I hope you'll come back and come and see me on Ravelry. Sort of introduce yourself, or if you have comments, put them down below under the video or over there on Ravelry, it's fine. And I just want you all to know how welcome you are. Oh yeah, please subscribe if you want to get notifications for future videos. Okay, that's all. Happy knitting. Bye.